This actually happened just a few days ago. My fiance was starving, hadn't eaten all day, long day, work, kids, life.
Right.
And later in the evening, she decides to use an unnamed delivery service and she orders some food, a cheeseburger, some fries, and an apple pie. Just a nice
Mm,
all American meal.
mm,
She pays an like a really exceptional tip as well
mm.
on the service. Time goes by a lot longer than it should have been because the place isn't too far away. And all of a sudden, she gets a text. And in most of the processes with most of these delivery services, they provide a text, video, or excuse me, photo evidence that the food has been delivered to your
Right.
house. And she says, Aaron, I got to show you this text that just came in. And so I was like, oh, really? And so I go upstairs and I look at her phone, and it's a picture of a guy, and I'm not joking with you, that looked like a Batman villain. He looked like the Riddler or like the Riddler's son or something, like dark eyes, like sunken in cheeks, the scariest looking dude you've ever
Okay.
seen. He's holding the bag of food that she ordered, throwing a peace sign. And it was weird because you never get pictures of the person who's delivering the
Mm-mm.
food.
No.
I go out on the porch, there is no food. What At that moment and what happens over the course of the entire evening was one of the craziest nights I've ever had in my entire life.
Wow. Okay. First of all, thank you for like setting us up to that remarkable situation. Remarkable in a way of it's like hard to believe. Like I'm sorry you had to go through this experience.
Right.
And for those of you watching, there are times like Aaron and I, again, we've known each other since preschool. We've been through a lot of these situations together.
Yeah.
We know a lot of the details, but a lot of the times we're breaking down situations and pulling back the onion on things that we like. I may not know all the details. He may not know all the details of some of these episodes. And this is a prime example.
Yeah.
I don't know the full story of this. This just happened. This is fresh. Okay.
Fresh, couple days
Fresh.
ago.
This is fresh. So I want you all, we're going through this together, all of us. Okay.
Yep.
Including myself. So, okay. I'm trying to even, I don't even know where to start. There's a picture of what looks to be a villain, like a villain-esque character, sunken cheeks.
Yes. He's just a scary looking guy. I'm
It,
calling him the Riddler. Well, I'll keep
yeah,
calling him that
let's just do
bec-
that.
because he's a scary looking guy. He's like a guy you would see in a scary movie, or like a character that just is
Right.
like, and it's no negativity. It's just
No.
observationally like terribly dressed, holes in his shirt, like looks strung out on drugs,
Right.
which is fine, whatever, man. Like you do you. But when you're getting that picture holding the food that you just ordered, throwing a peace sign, at first that's going to jar you. And what happens after that, you're not going to believe.
So, Aaron,
Yeah, tell
we
me where
we
you want me to start.
we're going to paint this canvas. I want to actually just paint a picture for myself because this kind of helps me and internalize
Sure.
everything that's happening. So it's a work day, right? It's
Yep.
a work day. We're going to just paint a canvas together. You guys get up in the morning, you have your coffee, you go through your work day,
Yep.
hard work, you get home, you have dinner. You're looking forward to an evening together, right? You're
Yeah.
probably working on your fantasy football lineups. We're in the same league. That's a conversation for a different time.
Getting the kids ready for bed.
Getting the kids ready for
They're
bed.
tired, long day at school.
Yeah.
Yes.
So sure, we're hungry. Time flies by. Like I forget to eat dinner sometimes. I'm
Yeah.
looking at the clock. It's like 10 o'clock. I'm like, I gotta eat something before I go to bed.
Right.
Like I haven't ate since like 7 in the morning. The last thing that you're thinking about is being in an investigation regarding a food delivery service and your food being stolen off your front porch. So walk me through and walk all of us
Mm.
through what is going on in your mind when you see the unusual picture of someone flashing a peace sign holding your food. I use these types of services somewhat often,
Yep.
and typically if there's a picture, it's just like of the bag of food at your
Yes.
front door,
Has to be that.
right? A
Yes.
lot of the times they actually ring the doorbell out of courtesy. But you have a picture of a full, so someone took a picture of a person.
There it
Are you
is.
saying are you saying that it's possible that there were two people? One took a picture. What is going through your mind? when you see this, what time was it? Was
This
it
was
10, 11,
11
12,
11 PM, 11 PM.
11 p.m.?
Because the food she ordered the food at, like, 10, which was kinda late, but there was some restaurants that were open.
Sure,
So
we all do
she
it.
yeah, so it's fast food, and so she orders at that time, and the place wasn't too far away, but it was one of those things where she didn't wanna sit in the drive-through, again, tired, that's why we have these services, or that's why they offer them, the convenience and the value of this, and to your
Right,
point, we use them a lot too, because and they're great for the most part, they're great with,
right,
busy with the kids' work, it's just like, "Oh, we got some food delivered, awesome." Usually don't we do it sometimes late at night, when we're
right.
getting like, feeling like, oh, have some fast food or whatever. But for the most part, it's like dinner time. But
Okay,
yeah, the reason why it was 11 o'clock is because it took so long for the food to be delivered. She began to be suspicious. Like, where's the
okay,
food? It's taking so long. And then that's when she gets the text. When she shows me that text, there's a few things going through my mind. First, I want to just set the record here. Like, we're incredibly lucky, we're incredibly privileged, we're incredibly I work really hard, so does she. We live in a great community, a safe city, all this kind of stuff. And
right.
by the way, that's by design, because we love the quality of life that we have here. I want to recognize that there are people who live in
Yeah,
environments all over the world where this is their every single day, feeling unsafe,
right,
feeling like that's a terrible way not only to live but in a disadvantage for those folks. And I understand why people strives to live in a place where they want basic things:
right,
safety, security, love,
right.
and possibility for their family. So I want to recognize the good things, but even when you're in that state, it doesn't mean that when someone like violates that you shouldn't
Yeah,
be upset or frustrated, or it shouldn't cause you some like pause. And that's what happens when I'm looking at that picture. I'm running through scenarios and I'm going, first of all, that's a scary looking dude. I got the Riddler, a photo of the Riddler I'm looking at. He has kind of a smile on his face. It
mm,
looks like kind of like ha 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 F you.
okay,
And then
wow,
throwing not threatening, but kind of smug, kind of that look. And he's throwing the peace sign up. Like,
mm,
and at first
this is
I thought,
crazy.
my first scenario was like, let's think about people in a good way. Maybe it's a nice guy. Yes, despite the fact that he looks like a Batman villain, he's scaring the shit out of me right now looking at this photo. Honestly, it's late at night and I'm checking the windows. I'm checking the windows. Okay. And I'm thinking to myself, but don't think that way. Don't jump to conclusions. Let's think
Right,
the best of, maybe it's just a nice guy who wanted to have this picture taken to say, hey, the food's here. So that's why right away I didn't think anything of it until I went to the porch and the food's not there. Now things are becoming clear. Okay, now that look in the photo is becoming a little bit more sinister. Now scenarios are starting to build on what the heck happened. And I
right,
realized right away that food's gone. So there's only a few possibilities. One, to your point, who took the photo?
right,
Because now I got a person with his hands are in the photo. So someone took it. He didn't set it up on a tripod. Also, I start thinking, where's this photo taken? Was
right,
this at my house? Was this
right,
in front of my house? So now for the next 20 minutes, and I won't go on for that long about it, we're looking at the photo, trying to determine, and it's dark, by the way. So, like, we're looking, is the tree line the same tree line in our front yard? Is that our neighbor's window in the
right,
background? We're trying to discern whose house he's at, because if it's our house, that becomes a little bit more scary because this person has the audacity. I got Bonnie and Clyde of the food deliveries world, right? Working in tandem, right? And they're coming to the house. And I'm thinking, who has the audacity to come to the house, take a picture in front of the house, give video evidence or photo evidence using this service where they're clearly going to get caught or at least deactivated? But who would do that? So here's a few things we recognize, Anthony, and I'll pause.
sure,
It didn't look right off the bat that it was directly in front of our house.
okay,
So while it still frustrated me, it gave me some relief because I'm like, all right, at least they didn't come to our house. Here's the reality: they had our address to get there in the first place. That's how
right,
they know. So that's where I'm like, where is this person? I actually go outside. I walk the perimeter of the house. I'm walking around with a bat outside looking for, honestly, Anthony, if I confront someone, you're going down. I'm walking around
right,
imagine this. Now it's pushing towards midnight. I'm walking around the perimeter of my house looking for the Riddler. Corey's inside looking at the photo, doing investigating, and no one's outside the perimeter of the house. And then I go back inside. She's like, well, What if he delivered, again, still trying to think about the good in people? What if he delivered it to the wrong house? We take a drive around the neighborhood, just around our block. Kids are safe, doors are locked. We do a quick drive, and then we actually park the car, come back. We do a walk. She does a walk around the neighborhood, looking at the door, the front porches of everybody on the street. There's no food to be found. It's not there. And so at this point, we realize we've just been a victim of, first, riddle. The guy sends me a photo. Riddle me this. Who stole your hamburger? Riddle me this. Who stole your apple pie? I did. And at first, we kind of laughed about it because we're like, bro, that's your life. Like, this is the pinnacle of your life. You're stealing people's apple pies. Listen, like we've talked about this in other episodes, brother. If you wanted something, ask me. I'll give it to you.
Right.
Like, if you were that hungry, listen, like, but this seemed to be intentional, and I get it. Like, it's sort of an F you. Okay, cool. But at the end of the day, that wasn't what made me the most angry. It was our interaction with the food service provider themselves, because she's messaging them saying, we believe someone has stolen the food. We have
Okay.
photo evidence of them throwing us a peace sign, laughing. The food's nowhere to be found. They're nowhere in the neighborhood. There's no food. They said, okay, sorry for your inconvenience. We'll refund you the order. We won't refund the tip.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm messaging on the phone. I can't believe I'm in this situation. I'm like, you're not going to refund the tip. We just tipped the Riddler, who then
Crime.
stole. You have an active thief running around stealing people's food, but you want me to tip him? So I'm supposed to tip the thief.
This is crazy.
So we're in a fight. Now I'm fighting two enemies. I'm fighting the Riddler, and I'm also fighting the provider. I have to fight and argue with them, and they finally refund the tip. They finally are like, okay, after I said I have to escalate this. And then we got to a point where we said, listen, like, we sent the picture. We're like, just so you know, you have someone who's extremely like liable and committing crimes. Like, you should do something about it. They were very casual about it, like in the chat. And again, I know it's probably an outsourced customer services
Right.
thing.
Most likely.
Here's the reality, though. These are real situations. And I know this has happened to people before, but the fact that there wasn't a communication platform where you could actually share this in a meaningful way, and where they actually weren't responding to it, like where they were responding to it with a thoughtfulness of like, hey, we want to make sure because our thought was other customers, other people too. Like, we
Right.
didn't want people doing this in the neighborhood. So it was an extremely frustrating situation. And I got to a point where like this went on for 4 hours. I didn't sleep that night because for some reason I was just circling my mind about who this was, why this happened. Like, and we finally chalked it up to basically we were had by the Riddler, and
Yeah.
that's fine. But at the end of the day, it was also more of a question of like the actual service provider. Like, you got to be able to have some meaningful communication platform. And
Right.
then you tried to make me tip a thief.
Yeah. This is
After hearing the story, Anthony, are you serious? No, sorry, we can't refund the tip. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I'm supposed to tip the Riddler.
wow. I'm trying to wrap my head around all of this. It's hard to believe that you were in this situation. So what you're telling me is at some point you see the picture,
Mhm.
you become a detective. I have to assume at that point, you turn off Mad About You, you put on a trench coat, you get a box of Marlboro Reds. Aaron does not smoke. This is just for fun. Did you go to Dunkin' or any of the coffee place? Did you make coffee? Did you smoke a cigarette? Did you have a hat on? I imagine your fiance has made a makeshift dark room to evaluate the picture, looking for all evidence. This may be funny to people that are listening to this. I personally think it's kind of funny, but in all seriousness, this became your main objective.
Yep.
You similar to one of the episodes we recorded recently of the hat. When you feel violated,
Yeah.
when you feel, even if it's at a capacity of a
Bag of
$4
food.
meal,
Right. Apple pies.
apple pie, guess what? Was
Where
I
did it go?
understand. I think I would feel the same way. Were they on my property?
Right.
Why are they taunting me?
What
What
did I
like
do? What
now
did she do?
looking at it from the Riddler standpoint, I gotta say, if you're gonna do something like that, at least take a bite into it and take the picture.
Right.
Like, if I was the Riddler, I would have opened that cheeseburger. I'd have put some work in on it. Maybe put the pie on my face a little bit. Maybe sent multiple photos. Now, granted, I am not the Riddler. This is not some type of inside plot. But as I'm hearing this, I'm looking at this from two different lenses. There's lens one, you and your fiance, my friends are violated. I'm frustrated.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I don't want you guys going through this. I don't want anybody going through this. Like, this is a societal issue we have. People are not taking their job seriously. It's a game. I don't even know like what is happening in our world right now. It could be a simulation. Is any of this even real?
Well,
I don't even know if is this call real? Like, is this show real? Maybe. Am I? I don't know. Am I a simulation or you? But I will say this from the Riddler standpoint, and somebody who I consider myself a mildly entertaining, maybe somewhat funny person in certain moments. I'm also a little awkward, but I will say this shit. If I was the Riddler, I would have went all out. So Bonnie and Clyde need to work on their game a little bit.
Right.
But I don't understand why they're feeding the system. You're going to allow them to keep the tip. It's an inside job. It's the perfect crime. You cannot deliver, you get a meal. If they choose not to deliver your food, they get a free meal. They know that this said company is going to refund the customer. It's not going to probably escalate any farther. They're going to most of the time assume that people are going to chalk up the tip. It's the perfect crime.
Perfect crime.
So you're going around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
At some point,
we wanted to make sure we didn't accuse them. Like,
exactly.
Which, by the way, we should have, from the very moment of this picture, the dude gave himself up. The jig is up. So when I looked at the map, by the way, Anthony, I saw that they had come off the highway. So it must have been like, hey, we signed up for this service earlier in the week. This must have been planned ahead or whatever. Or maybe it was just, who knows? Maybe they were at the end of their rope. Maybe this was a person working for the food service that was ripped off and was so tired of it that maybe this is the end of their story where someone had gypped them on a tip or whatever. And so they just pick us to go, guess what? I quit and I'm stealing your food. You never know the story here, but at the end of the day, it's not a big deal about the food. It was more of just the craziness of how it happened. And to your point too, listen, why not, if you're really doing this to steal, like take a real picture of the food on the porch and then take the food and run.
They wanted to get caught. This is a cry for help.
This is a cry for help. This is
There's something bigger going on here.
There's something bigger. Listen, brother, listen, this might be the biggest moment of this guy's life. These two, we don't know their stories. Maybe they auditioned for American Idol and it never worked out. Maybe they went for a big film audition and never happened. Maybe you don't know. Maybe they just were up for a promotion. They were overstepped by someone else. Who knows? Maybe they had done this for 5 years and someone gypped them, or maybe their car broke down. They were at a breaking point. They were at a moment of their life where they said, this is my moment in the sun. And what we're going to do is we're going to steal this food and we're going to take off and we're going to take a picture so that it lasts forever. Well, I got that picture. And Anthony, here's a reality for legal reasons. I'm not going to show it, but we have that picture. We've shared it with some friends. And to be honest with you, when I'm driving around, I'm looking for this guy.
Story's not over.
No, I'm looking for the guy. Every once in a while, I wonder if I see him, will he be wearing a blazer with some question marks on it? I become Batman. Speaking of utility belts and equipment, I told you I was up all night. Anthony, I'm tossing and turning.
Right.
And I don't know what it was, but what I decided to do, I ended up getting a high-end security camera for my front porch. Anthony, it's got all the bells and whistles. It has sensitivity lights, a light that goes across. It covers the circumference of the entire lawn and the street. Anthony, I can zoom in 1080 HD quality. Anthony, I have it so that you hit a siren if you see someone. By the way, here's what's so weird about that. That helped me sleep because even though the guy never
Yeah,
came to my house, it was one of those things where in that moment of feeling out of control, it was a moment where I could feel at least in control and I could see what's
right.
going on. The sensitivity level of the camera, Anthony, I got it up on high 100%. Birds are flying by, they're suspects. Who
There
knows?
anything, anyone, the mailman, anybody
You're
could be a suspect.
you're a suspect. I'm looking at video. I'm zooming in. I'm looking at your intentions. So listen, what would have just been like a $10 hamburger, apple pie, and drink ended up costing me close to $250. But here's the reality: two things. The Riddler's on the loose, so be on the lookout. And two, I spent $250, but I feel a little bit more in control. I don't know if you'd say that that's something
I
that's worth it or not, but I got to be honest with you. After I made that order and hit, and by the way, paid the extra for the shipping, next day we put it together. We're up. I might buy a couple more for the house.
They may have had a breakdown that led to us breaking it down, and you were possibly just a pawn in a chess game.
I think you're absolutely correct. And I can tell you this: that night, my house looked like a normal home. Right now, it looks more like the Batcave.